6 times larger than Switzerland, 3 times more biodiversity than the Amazon, yet somehow, Sumatra remains invisible to the world. While millions flock to Bali's crowded beaches, Indonesia's 6th largest island guards secrets that would humble the world's most famous destinations. Researchers have documented more species here in a single tree than exist in all of Europe. Ancient kingdoms left temples that predate Angkor Wat. Volcanoes that nearly erased humanity from Earth still breathe fire into pristine crater lakes. But here's what's interesting. Sumatra isn't just another tropical island. Geologists call it Earth's most violently beautiful creation. Where else can you dive where 3 oceans collide, walk inside volcanic craters before breakfast, and witness humanity's closest relatives swinging free through primary rainforest, all while surfing waves that professionals have named the most perfect on Earth? In this journey, you're about to discover why adventure travelers who find Sumatra never quite recover, why photographers run out of memory cards, why anthropologists consider this humanity's most important living laboratory. These aren't just destinations, they're portals to a planet that technically shouldn't exist anymore. 12 places where Earth forgot to become ordinary. From a lake hiding inside a supervolcano to islands where time stopped 1,000 years ago. Welcome to Sumatra, the island that makes everywhere else feel like a rehearsal. "90 kilometers northwest of Medan, where the Borhorok River carves through primary rainforest, sits a village that shouldn't exist. Bukit Lawang, literally door to the hills, guards the entrance to something researchers call irreplaceable, 3 million acres of the Gunung Luza National Park, where Earth conducts its most ambitious experiment in intelligence. Biologists have documented something extraordinary here. The Sumatran orangutans of this forest don't just use tools, they teach innovation. Researchers observed them creating gloves from leaves to handle thorny fruits, passing techniques through generations like heirlooms. Local guides report witnessing orangutans using medicinal plants, behavior that pharmaceutical companies now study intensely. But what transforms travelers isn't just the orangutans, it's the cathedral of biodiversity surrounding them. Within these forests, photographers have captured 8 primate species, 300 bird varieties, and botanical phenomena that shouldn't coexist. Arctic orchids growing beside tropical giants. The canopy reaches 40 meters high, creating a vertical world with distinct neighborhoods at every level. Hornbills patrol the penthouse. Gibbons own the middle floors. A universe of insects manages the basement. The transformation happens gradually. Travelers report that after 3 days here, they start hearing individual bird calls. After a week, they can sense orangutans before seeing them. The jungle, guides explain, teaches you its language, but only if you stay quiet enough to listen. The 2003 flash flood that destroyed tourist infrastructure became Bukit Lawang's rebirth. The rebuilt village learned to coexist rather than exploit. Today's eco-lodges generate more income than logging ever did. This isn't just wildlife viewing, it's time travel to when humans were merely one species among many, still negotiating our place in the world. But if Bukit Lawang shows us life's explosive diversity, imagine what happens when Earth's most violent forces create paradise. 2 hours south, a crater so massive, it's visible from space holds a secret that nearly erased humanity and accidentally created perfection. "74,000 years ago, this place nearly ended our story. The Toba supervolcano exploded with the force of 1 billion tons of TNT, ejecting enough ash to bury the entire United States under 2 feet of debris. Scientists discovered that humanity's population crashed to perhaps 3,000 individuals. We almost vanished. Today, that apocalyptic crater holds 1,145 square kilometers of sapphire water. Southeast Asia's largest lake, concealing depths of 505 meters. But what truly mesmerizes travelers isn't the statistics. It's what emerged from devastation. At Toba's heart floats Sumatra Island, almost Singapore's size, which is technically an island within an island born from a volcano. Geologists call this impossible geography. The Batak people who've lived here for centuries call it home. Their traditional houses, shaped like cosmic boats with soaring saddleback roofs, weren't built. They were sailed here according to mythology, when the earth was still water. Travelers discover kings' tombs carved from single stones weighing 20 tons. No one fully understands how ancestors moved them. In Tumog village, stone chairs where tribal councils decided fates for 5 centuries still wait for judgments. Local shamans claim the stones remember everything discussed. Modern visitors report a peculiar phenomenon. The lake's microclimate creates air so pure that colors appear supernatural, blues deeper than oceans, greens more vivid than emeralds. Photographers struggle to convince others their images aren't digitally enhanced. The water maintains a temperature perfect for swimming year-round, as if Earth calibrated its comfort precisely. But Toba guards a deeper transformation. Those who stay long enough report time distortion, days feeling like weeks, weeks like minutes. Perhaps it's the crater's acoustics, perhaps the altitude, or perhaps, as the Batak believe, places that have witnessed the end of worlds operate by different rules. If a supervolcano can become paradise, what happens when 3 oceans collide at the edge of the world? At Indonesia's northernmost point, where maps end and infinity begins, an island performs daily miracles that marine biologists thought impossible. "150 kilometers off Sumatra's western coast, the Indian Ocean guards a secret that makes anthropologists weep and surfers pray. The Mentawai Islands, 70 fragments of paradise, remained isolated from humanity for 500,000 years, long enough to evolve their own species of primates, long enough for humans to forget the rest of the world exists. When Dutch missionaries arrived in 1901, they discovered the impossible, a Stone Age culture that had achieved something modern society struggles with: complete harmony. The Mentawai people, particularly the Sekodi clan, developed no word for war. Their full-body tattoos, inked with rusty nails and jungle soot, aren't decoration. They're spiritual armor, making souls recognizable to ancestors. Researchers documented medicine men who identify medicinal plants by asking the forest directly. Skeptical scientists tested their remedies, and pharmaceutical companies now hold 17 patents based on Mentawai forest knowledge. The shamans laugh. They say the forest has thousands more secrets, but only shares them with those who stay forever. Then there's the phenomenon that transformed these islands into surfing's holy grail. The Indian Ocean swells travel 6,000 miles uninterrupted before hitting Mentawai's coral reefs, creating waves so mathematically perfect that engineers study them. Hollow trees, macaronis, rifles, names whispered reverently in surf shops worldwide. Professional surfers have documented 400-meter rides lasting 2 minutes. Physics suggests this shouldn't happen, yet here, it happens daily from April to October. But the Mentawai paradox goes deeper. Visitors expecting primitive isolation find solar-powered surf camps with satellite Wi-Fi hidden in the jungle. Ancient shamans check wave forecasts on smartphones. The islands exist in multiple centuries simultaneously. The Mentawai show us that paradise isn't about choosing between worlds. It's about balance. But what happens when Earth itself loses balance? Deep in Sumatra's spine, a volcanic giant reaches so high that climbers experience 4 seasons in a single ascent. At 3,805 meters, Mount Kerinci stands as Southeast Asia's highest volcano, still breathing smoke into Sumatra's morning sky. But elevation tells only half the story. This volcanic giant creates its own weather system, its own ecosystem, its own rules. Climbers report experiencing all 4 seasons during the 12-hour ascent: tropical humidity at dawn, autumn mists by noon, winter winds at the crater. The volcanic soil performs agricultural magic. Kerinci Valley produces cinnamon so potent that spice traders call it heaven's bark, selling for 10 times regular cinnamon's price. The tea plantations, cascading down slopes like green waterfalls, yield leaves that sommeliers describe as containing volcanic whispers. Local farmers say the altitude makes plants work harder to survive, concentrating flavors into something approaching alchemy. Below the plantations, Kerinci Sablat National Park stretches across 13,791 square kilometers, Sumatra's largest protected area. Camera traps have captured images that make conservationists' hearts race. Sumatran tigers, clouded leopards, sun bears, but it's the sound that transforms visitors. At night, the jungle symphony reaches frequencies that cities have forgotten. A biological orchestra that researchers say physically alters human brainwaves. Hidden at 1,996 meters lies Lake Gunung Tujuh, the Seven-Mountain Lake, Southeast Asia's highest volcanic lake. The trek there passes through forests where moss grows so thick it muffles footsteps. Locals warn that the lake chooses who can find it. GPS units mysteriously fail. Compasses spin. Yet those who persist discover water so pristine that myths say it grants visions. Kerinci Valley proves that altitude isn't just about height, it's about perspective. But what happens when perspective becomes architecture? In Sumatra's cultural heartland, an ancient civilization built gravity-defying palaces that modern engineers still can't fully explain. In West Sumatra's highlands, 2 kilometers above sea level, stands a city that architects call impossible. Bukittinggi, High Hill, showcases Minangkabau architecture that shouldn't exist. The traditional houses, called rumah gadang, feature roofs with points soaring skyward like buffalo horns, some reaching 15 meters high without any internal support. Engineers studying these 300-year-old structures discovered they're earthquake-proof, using flexible joint systems that modern seismic technology only recently matched. But nature provides the real architecture here. Sianok Canyon plunges 100 meters deep, carved by tectonic forces that geologists say created Indonesia's Grand Canyon. The local name Nigarai Sianok means silent canyon, though silence here isn't empty. It's dense with stories. Japanese occupation forces carved a network of tunnels below, creating an underground city spanning 1,400 meters. Today's visitors crawl through passages where prisoners scratched messages still visible on walls. The twin markets, Pasar Atas and Pasar Bawah, assault senses in ways travelers never forget. Photographers have documented over 300 types of chilies here, each with specific medicinal purposes locals memorize like poetry. The flower market explodes with specimens that botanists claim shouldn't bloom at this altitude, but do rebelliously, as if the entire city operates by different biological laws. Two volcanoes stand sentinel, Merapi and Singgalang, their silhouettes framing every sunset. Between them, Bukittinggi exists in perpetual spring, never too hot, never too cold, as if Earth found its comfort setting and locked it here permanently. The Minangkabau proved that defying gravity is just engineering. But what about defying geography itself? Where Sumatra meets the Indian Ocean's northernmost point, an island exists that cartographers say shouldn't be there. At Indonesia's northernmost point, where cartographers run out of country to map, Pulau Weh performs daily miracles that marine biologists thought impossible. This tiny island, only 156 square kilometers, sits precisely where the Indian Ocean, the Pacific, and the Andaman Sea collide. The result: waters so biodiverse that researchers have documented more species here in one dive than most oceans contain in entire regions. Divers report encounters that sound fictional. Whale sharks cruise past at breakfast. Manta rays perform ballet at lunch. By dinner, dolphins escort boats home. The underwater volcano known as Sophie Rikmas creates a seamount that acts like a magnet for pelagic species. Water temperatures hold at a perfect 28 degrees Celsius year-round. Visibility extends 40 meters, and currents deliver nutrients that create what Jacques Cousteau's team called an underwater Eden. But Pulau Weh's magic isn't confined underwater. Ibui Beach's waters glow electric turquoise against white sand so pure that locals claim it can heal skin ailments. Scientists discovered the sand contains unusual mineral compositions from volcanic activity, though that doesn't explain why swimmers report feeling electrically charged after emerging. The Kilometer Zero monument marks where Indonesia begins, or ends, depending on perspective. Standing here at sunset, visitors witness something extraordinary. The sun appears to set into 3 different seas simultaneously, creating triple reflections that photographers struggle to capture because cameras insist it's impossible. Pulau Weh proves that edges aren't endings, they're beginnings. But what happens when destruction becomes rebirth? In Banda Aceh, a city that faced nature's ultimate fury, discovered that sometimes the end of the world is just the start of something miraculous. December 26, 2004, a 9.3 magnitude earthquake birthed a tsunami that should have erased Banda Aceh from existence. Waves 30 meters high, traveling at jet speeds, hit Indonesia's northernmost capital. Yet today, visitors discover not ruins but revelation, a city that transformed catastrophe into catalyst for something extraordinary. The Tsunami Education Park preserves a 2,600-ton ship that surfed inland atop a house, now sitting 5 kilometers from ocean. Physics-defying evidence of nature's power. The museum, designed as a tsunami wave frozen in architecture, channels water over its walls, turning trauma into art. Inside, the Space of Fear, a dark, narrow corridor with water sounds, recreates those moments. Visitors emerge into Light of Hope, where 2004 lights commemorate victims while celebrating survival. But Banda Aceh's resurrection goes deeper. Lampuk Beach, completely obliterated by the tsunami, regenerated into something more beautiful than before. Marine biologists documented accelerated coral growth, as if the ocean apologized through abundance. Today's beach stretches impossibly white against waters that shift through 7 shades of blue hourly. Surfers have discovered breaks that didn't exist pre-tsunami, waves that locals say carry healing energy. The Baituraman Grand Mosque, built in 1612, stood alone amid destruction, its black domes and white walls unmarked while everything around vanished. Engineers can't explain why. The mosque that survived impossible forces now hosts visitors who report feeling something unexplainable, not sadness, but strength. Banda Aceh proved that endings can be beginnings. But on an island west of Sumatra, an ancient culture has been beginning the same day for 1,000 years, preserving traditions that anthropologists call humanity's most important living laboratory. On Nias Island, young men still leap over stone towers 2 meters high to prove warrior status, a tradition called fahumbo that predates written history. But here's what documentaries miss: the stones grow taller each generation. Elders explain to anthropologists that comfort creates weakness, so each generation must jump higher than their fathers. Physics professors studying the jumps discovered warriors achieve heights that Olympic athletes struggle to match, without modern training. The traditional villages defy architectural logic. Houses called Omo Niha rise on massive ironwood pillars, assembled without nails using an interlocking system that flexes during earthquakes. Some structures are 300 years old, surviving quakes that toppled modern buildings. The chief's house in Bawamataluo village stands 15 meters tall, containing rooms that acoustically amplify whispers into commands, architectural technology that sound engineers can't replicate. Then there's Lagundri Bay, home to waves that changed surfing history. In 1975, Australian surfers discovered a right-hand barrel so perfect that they kept it secret for years. The wave breaks over reef for 200 meters, creating tubes so consistent that surf photographers use it to test equipment. Local mythology says the waves are dragons' backs, carrying messages between islands. Scientists discovered the bay's unique bathymetry creates standing wave patterns that shouldn't exist in open ocean. Nias preserved what everywhere else forgot. Warriors still perform war dances where synchronized stomping creates seismic vibrations measured by geologists. Women wear gold jewelry, weighing up to 15 kilograms during ceremonies. Stone money, massive circular rocks, still holds value that banks recognize. Nias demonstrates that some traditions are too powerful for time to erode. But what happens when Earth itself becomes art? On an island that nobody's heard of, nature sculpted a masterpiece that makes the Maldives look monotonous. East of Sumatra floats an impossibility called Belitung, an island where granite boulders the size of houses balance on beaches like giants' toys. Geologists dated these stones at 180 million years old, formed when this was part of mainland Asia. The rocks shouldn't exist on tropical beaches, they belong in mountains. Yet here they create landscapes that photographers call accidentally surreal. The water performs its own impossibility. Minerals from tin mining, Belitung's former curse, created unintended alchemy. The sea transforms through 17 documented shades of blue in single panoramas. Lencours Island's lighthouse, built in 1882, stands 50 meters tall on an island smaller than a football field. Dutch engineers built it using Scottish granite, shipped 10,000 miles, because local granite was too beautiful to cut. The lighthouse keeper's log from 1923 describes lights in the water that dance like captured stars, bioluminescent plankton that still performs nightly shows. Island hopping here reveals microcosms of wonder. Pulau Batu Berlear, Sailing Rock Island, features a granite formation that perfectly resembles a sailing ship. Locals say it's a petrified vessel whose captain challenged the gods. Marine surveys revealed the underwater portion actually continues the ship shape. Coincidence that statisticians calculate at impossible odds. Belitung earned its Rainbow Island name, not from marketing but meteorology. Light refracts through mineral-rich air, creating rainbow frequencies that shouldn't appear in tropical latitudes. After rain, the granite literally glows with absorbed spectrum. If stones can become art and water can become rainbows, what happens when gravity itself becomes entertainment? In Padang's hinterland, Waterfalls break rules that physicists are still trying to understand. Padang City might be Sumatra's culinary capital, where rendang conquered the world and nasi Padang became Indonesia's most exported culture. But venture 30 minutes inland, and Earth begins showing off. Harau Valley's limestone cliffs rise 150 meters vertically, sprouting waterfalls that shouldn't exist. Hydrologists counted 158 separate falls, many emerging from solid rock with no visible source. Sarasabunta waterfall breaks physics uniquely. Water flows upward for 3 meters before falling. Engineers discovered underground pressure systems creating reverse hydraulics, but can't explain why it only happens here. Local legend says fairies bathe at midnight, reversing water to maintain privacy. Scientists installed cameras. The footage shows mist formations that admittedly look like dancing figures. But Padang's true revolution happened in kitchens. CNN ranked rendang Earth's most delicious food twice. The secret? Cooking meat for 8 hours with 24 spices until physics and chemistry transform protein into something approaching alchemy. Padang restaurants now operate on every inhabited continent. Antarctica's research stations specifically request Padang chefs. The cuisine achieved what empires couldn't: voluntary worldwide colonization through flavor. Lemba Anai waterfall drops beside the Trans-Sumatran highway, nature's rest stop that makes visitors forget destinations. The negative ions generated measure higher than therapeutic chambers in Swiss wellness clinics. Truckers report that stopping here for 10 minutes eliminates fatigue better than coffee. Scientists studying the phenomenon discovered unique mineral compositions in the water, creating natural aromatherapy. Padang proves that revolution doesn't require weapons. Sometimes you just need waterfalls and recipes. But deep in Sumatra's southern swamps, giants are staging their own revolution, teaching humans that intelligence comes in forms we're only beginning to understand. In Lampung's lowland swamps, 1,300 square kilometers of Weh Kambas National Park hosts Earth's most ambitious experiment in interspecies education. The Elephant Conservation Center doesn't just protect Sumatran elephants, it schools them. Elephants learn 36 commands, mathematical concepts, and problem-solving skills that university students struggle with. But here's the twist. The elephants are teaching us more than we're teaching them. Researchers documented elephant behavior that rewrites biology textbooks. Matriarchs draw maps in mud, showing migration routes to younger generations. Bulls perform seismic communication through foot stomps that phones detect 15 kilometers away. Underground Facebook that predates internet by millennia. The elephant response units trained elephants that prevent wild herds from raiding crops, negotiate rather than enforce. Using diplomatic protocols humans are still decoding. The Weh Kambas River Safari reveals Sumatra's secret Amazon, false gharials, crocodile dragons, patrol waters so dark that light abandons hope, hornbills with beaks worth more than gold fly overhead. The unfortunate result of Chinese medicine myths, storm storks, white-winged ducks, and 405 other bird species create aerial traffic that requires binocular scheduling. Hidden within Weh Kambas, the Sumatran rhino sanctuary guards Earth's most critically endangered large mammal. Fewer than 80 exist worldwide. 7 do live here, in facilities so secure that Google Earth blurs the images. The rhinos, weighing 600 kilograms but gentle as puppies, actually sing. Vocalizations that linguists classify as structured communication. Weh Kambas demonstrates that conservation isn't about saving animals, it's about learning from teachers who've been here longer. Speaking of teachers, one mountain near Sumatra's northern tip offers lessons that anyone brave enough can learn, requiring only courage and very early alarms. Two hours from Medan, Mount Sibayak makes an offer no other active volcano dares. Come witness Earth's morning breath without dying. At 2,181 meters, Sibayak stands modest among Indonesia's volcanic giants. But accessibility creates intimacy. This volcano lets anyone with functioning legs touch clouds, smell sulfur, and understand why ancient cultures worshipped mountains. The summit assault begins at 3 a.m., headlamps creating constellation trails up switchbacks. By 5 a.m., climbers break above cloud level, entering a realm where Earth's rules soften. The crater, 300 meters wide, exhales sulfur steam that paints rocks yellow, green, purple. Colors that shouldn't exist together in nature collaborate here. Geologists measured temperatures at 80 degrees Celsius from vents. Visitors can approach within meters, Earth showing off responsibly. Then sunrise happens. Not arrives, happens. Like creation's first morning, every morning, the sun emerges from Malacca Strait, igniting clouds below into orange oceans. Lake Toba appears. Medan sprawls. Malaysia's mountains wave from the horizon. Photographers report a phenomenon. Images taken here appear three-dimensional without editing, as if altitude adds actual depth to light. Descent delivers rewards. Natural hot springs at Sibayak's base offer temperatures precisely calibrated for human comfort. 40 degrees Celsius, enriched with minerals that make skin feel reborn. Local mythology claims these waters flow from Earth's heart, carrying messages from the core. Scientists discovered unique bacterial cultures that exist nowhere else, producing compounds that pharmaceutical companies desperately want to synthesize. Sibayak teaches that adventure doesn't require expertise, just willingness to wake before comfort suggests. The volcano that anyone can climb proves that Earth's greatest spectacles aren't reserved for athletes or experts. They're waiting for anyone brave enough to set an alarm. "12 places, one island, infinite transformations." Sumatra doesn't just exist, it insists that Earth hasn't finished creating wonders, that paradise isn't extinct, just hiding, that adventures aren't reserved for the past or the privileged, but waiting for anyone willing to look beyond the obvious. From Bukit Lawang's primate professors to Lake Toba's supervolcanic alchemy, from Mentawai's perfect waves to Kerinci's climbing heaven, from Bukittinggi's gravity-defying architecture to Pulau Weh's triple ocean collision. Each destination doesn't just occupy space, it bends reality around itself, creating pockets where impossible becomes everyday. Banda Aceh turned catastrophe into catalyst. Nias preserved what progress erased. Belitung painted paradise in granite and rainbow. Padang revolutionized world cuisine between waterfalls. Weh Kambas proved elephants might be smarter than their students. Travel media keeps selling the same 15 destinations, while Sumatra waits patient, pristine, perfect. The island that nearly witnessed humanity's extinction now offers its resurrection, not through monuments or museums, but through moments. The moment when an orangutan locks eyes and you realize you're being studied. When volcanic lakes reflect colors that cameras can't capture. When ancient tribes with smartphones make you question what progress really means. Sumatra isn't just a destination. It's Earth's reminder that the age of discovery never ended, we just stopped looking. 12 places where the planet still experiments, still surprises, still transforms those brave enough to arrive. The island waits. The question isn't whether you're ready for Sumatra, it's whether you're ready for who you'll become after. The wild still exists, and it's wilder than you imagined.